Welcome back once again to our video series on CNU's ShoreTel phone system. I'm Will White with ITS, and in this video we're going to talk about changing settings using the ShoreTel client. So before we get started, there's a few things you should remember. First off, most of the forwarding and routing options that we're going to look at are per state. So they're different based on whether your phone's available, out of office, in a meeting, etc. Also, not all of the settings will be available. As we go through the list of settings, if you see me skip some, it probably means that we don't actually have that set up on our particular system. Also, not all settings have an effect. First off, any settings that involve Outlook are not going to be available, as CNU is a Google school, not a Microsoft Exchange school. Also, if you try to set the wallpaper on your phone, because we don't have the color screens that support wallpaper, you won't be able to do that. Let's talk about some of the settings that you can affect. First off, you can do a lot with call forwarding. You can have calls forwarded immediately. You can have them forwarded after a certain number of rings, or during or after your voicemail greeting. Additionally, you'll be able to set up quite a few of your voicemail preferences through the client without going through the voice-driven menu. And finally, you'll be able to do a little bit for the look and feel of your phone. Let's get started. Okay, so let's go in and start editing some settings. To get to your settings menu, you'll click this little drop down up at the top and choose settings. This will bring you to the full settings menu. Like I said earlier, many of these aren't really going to do anything. So if I skip some, it's because there's nothing there. The first one we're going to look at is call routing. So notice this call routing menu is based on which state your phone is in at a given time. So you have separate settings for, say, available, out of office, vacation, etc. Let's go down the list of each of these settings. So first off, you'll see incoming calls are routed to your desk phone. We don't have the soft phone here at CNU, so all of your calls will be routed to your desk phone no matter what your settings are. The next one is which phones will simultaneously ring. This is that simul ring that we saw in the states video. So if I click change here, I can actually set my phone to simultaneously ring various numbers. If I click on it and choose use selected number, now my phone will ring simultaneously on both my cell phone and my desk phone. If I pick it up on my cell phone, I'll have to push 1 to connect to the system, but that will also pick up the call off of my desk phone. Since that's not what I want in my actual phone, I'm going to turn that off. Next, you've got 3 rings before incoming calls are routed to voicemail. This controls your basic call forwarding. So if you click change here, you can see similar options to what we saw when we set up our states in the states video. You can keep ringing the number until somebody either picks up or hangs up. You can forward the call after a certain number of rings, and it can be from 1 to 20 and to any number. And if you have more than 8 calls active, so the maximum number of lines, you can forward it somewhere else. You can also always forward the calls without ringing at all to your voicemail or by entering a number here to any other number. The next one is called Find Me. So if we click on this, you will be able to have callers press 1 during your voicemail greeting to get to another number. So this would be useful if you are on some sort of trip, and for most things people could just leave you a message, but if they need immediate assistance, they need to be forwarded somewhere else. So you can add a number here, and then if the caller presses 1 while your voicemail greeting is going on, it will connect to that phone number. A note, if you do set up Find Me, you do need to tell them about it in your voicemail greeting. ShoreTel does not automatically tell callers that Find Me is possible. We're going to back out, and the next is the voicemail greeting. So if I click change here, I can actually record my voicemail greeting without going through the voicemail menus. I can play my greeting by pressing the play button here, and I can record a greeting by clicking Record New Greeting. I'm happy with my greeting, so I'm not going to do that. One note, you'll see this phone and speaker symbol over here on the right side. That controls where your voicemail greeting is played and recorded. So, if you want to use your computer to play and record your voicemail greeting, make sure it's on speaker. Next up, you'll see callers are allowed to leave a voicemail. By default, if someone calls you, they'll listen to your voicemail greeting and then they'll be able to leave you a message. This may not be what you want for a front desk phone where leaving a message wouldn't really be practical, but you may still want to give information like hours to people that call. That's what will happen if you click No. The greeting will play, but people won't be able to leave voicemails on that voicemail box. You'll also see up at the top here power routing. This actually allows you to create special forwarding rules if a certain number calls you, if the call's at a certain time, or various other things. That's a little beyond the scope of this video. The next option down is voicemail. Voicemail has a few settings you can use. The first one you can see is to play envelope information. That's the information about the number that called you and the time of the call when you're listening to the messages. If you click Setup, you're able to actually change your voicemail password and record your name that's used in the default voicemail greetings. Once again, pay attention to this phone and speaker toggle over on the right. These next few options don't do terribly much, but we'll get down to notifications. You see here under voicemail a box that says Send email notification about incoming voicemail. If that box is checked, you will get emails each time you get a voicemail. If you don't want that, uncheck this box. If you aren't getting emails and you want to, you might want to check and make sure this box is checked. Finally, we have desk phone. You see there's a wallpaper option. That doesn't do anything on our phones. There's also an option where you can set your ringtone quickly. The downside of using this as opposed to setting your ringtone on the phone is you don't have any way of previewing your settings. Those are all the major settings that are useful on the ShoreTel client. When you're done, there's no OK button or anything. Just click Close. Once again, if you need support about your phone, the software client, or really anything else, you can call CNU's help desk at 757-594-7079 or put in a ticket at help.cnu.edu. Once again, thank you for watching.